It's time for the movie rating. Tonight's victim is director-writer Thomas J. Churchill. Has been known for doing Xenophobia. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello. What have we been doing lately aside from Xenophobia being released already?
Well, Xenophobia is my latest project, my first sci-fi film, and it's my first collaboration with artist Joe Castro and Steven Escobar. Before that, I've been in the action thriller and horror thriller world. I've written and directed a film called Checkpoint, Nation's Fire, which is coming out December 3rd. We did a film called The Emerging Past, Director's Cut, which is available everywhere now. There's a film on Netflix called The Hard Way, which I've written. Randy Couture and Michael J. White produced the film Mr. Hush. And jumping into Xenophobia was an exciting time to do a sci-fi film.
Now, having to jump into this, even though it was exciting for you a bit, how was the actual overall change for you? Did it kind of feel awkward, the fact that you're stepping into a total new territory, and the fact that you're working with Joe Castro, was clear is very dedicated, very strongly about his work, and then having to collaborate, that this is basically kind of just purely new to you. I mean, how does that overall work for you during the process of this project?
Well, I worked with Joe Castro. I hired him to do all the effects work on the film Nation's Fire. It's an action thriller. Stars Bruce Dern, two-time Academy Award nominee Bruce Dern, Gil Bellows, Kristen Renton, and Krista Grotti. An action biker film. So then I'm putting a film together called M, and he worked on that, talked about doing some collaboration, and he pitched me this anthology type of story he wanted to do. He had this concept, him and Steven had this concept for about 20 years, but he wanted to finally get it off the ground. He sat together, we talked about how it would go down, the dynamics of it, the arc of the whole film, why we would want to do an anthology film but not make it feel like an anthology film. The three of us produced the entire film, and then the three of us went off and wrote and directed our segments in the film. My segment is called The Sullivan House, which is the last segment of the film that deals with kind of like, as people have been calling it, saying my segment is kind of like Pulp Fiction meets The Thing. And, both movies are great. Wanted to do something a little different and interesting than the others, but it all has to do with the alien abduction. Sitting there doing my first sci-fi film was kind of a blast. It was exciting to jump into that world.
How much time did it actually take you to piece your story in order to make an overflow of the rest of the stories, in order to make it really work? How much time would you say in terms of the creating this type of episode for you, and then having to get with everybody else and make sure this is an even flow of the story?
Well, Sullivan House was the first project that we did. We used the same crew that went on to do all the films, so they all had the same look and feel. We used the same cinematographer that I normally use throughout the film. We didn't want it to feel very jolting when you're going from story to story. We wanted it to feel like you're watching one movie, and I think we achieved that. I feel the segments that were told, they're very different, they're fun, they're scary, they're entertaining. We captured everything that Joe and Steve and I discussed we wanted to do, where we wanted to do a throwback to the films of yesteryear, the old drive-in movies, the old sci-fi, end-of-the-world type of films. We wanted to try to do that, still give it a modern spin to it, and doing different alien genres, alien species. Nobody's ever done that before, and I believe nobody's done a sci-fi alien abduction anthology film before. We are the first in all of it, and we're very excited about that.
Yeah, I always had that vibe when I watched this film. I always felt like, okay, it's that feel to where you think there's something around the corner or something above you that could just simply just come down, swoop you up at any given moment throughout this entire film, before, during, and after the actual character scenes. And it also has some suspense. It definitely has that good horror, old school feel to it. That's how I felt when I was watching this movie. The fact is that it's an anthology, like you mentioned, and definitely something I've never seen, which I also applaud for that, because I like seeing something, two different elements, or from sci-fi and horror combined together within this different kind of direction, and having to go into this kind of direction, it brings something more unique on its own. It's not just another sci-fi film.
Everybody always says when you hear about multiple directors on a project, they automatically assume that the three directors are working together shooting the film, and that's not not the case. We all had our individual plans. We all had our focus. We all had our stories to maintain. The entire film took, I think it was either 13 or 15 days to shoot the entire movie. We each had, I think it was 3 or 4 days to put each story together. It was a really fun, exciting time. We were able to call in some friends and family favors. I know we called in Manu, and we called in Kristen Renton and Angie Stevenson, and on my segment, Angie Stevenson and Mark Holdley and Chris Kelly Ryder and T.B. Bradley, Rachel Sterling, the other one in our segment. Kristen Renton I just worked with on Nation's Fire, and Angie Stevenson, we've been wanting to work together for a while. I know Joe and Steve worked with Baker and Brink Stevens already on other projects. So this is doing it all, like I said, calling up friends and family, sharing what we have, and seeing who wants to jump on board to make a great project.
Yeah, and it's, like you mentioned, this film has a little bit of a difference compared to the other films. This has a different change of tone compared to other films out there. Do you think this is more of an example that it is possible to continue change?
I mean, filmmaking has been evolving since 100 plus years, and stories, there's only 8 stories in the world, and everybody always draws from those stories, and Mary Plato and Socrates pretty much know them all. But going back and taking a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and mixing it together and creating something. I mean, this is the first time I've seen an anthology. You don't know it's an anthology when you're watching the film. It's not like, each film, each segment has a chapter, as you would see in a creep show type of movie or Tales from the Dark Side. We wanted the audience to sit down for 85 minutes, put on their seatbelt, and just have a fun ride. They want, to show them things that may be a little traditional with aliens, and then show them things that are completely different. We had, as I stated, there is various different type of species of aliens in our film, from some that practical effect. That's what attracted me to work with Joe. Joe is a magician. Joe Castro, to me, he gets better and better with age. He's been doing this since he's 14 years old. Just seeing all the various creatures the man comes up with. Just worked on 2 other films that I just wrote and directed. That one's a creature feature he created, a large creature, and the other one is a vampire movie that he's done all the work on. So, I've been working with him on the last 5 projects, and I just think each project, he tops himself. And Steven, his first directorial debut, did very good. He's a good producer, great editor, an Emmy award-winning editor, and he too is like a magician with his craft. So working with 2 guys that are very good at what they do, it was kind of a nice fit to somewhat, hopefully, change the genre. 85% of the population that's been watching this has been favorable and kind of got it and understood what the movie was going for, its theme, style, and basically the homage to all the films we grew up on. Xenophobia is just a fun film. Of course, people will start critiquing, comparing a Xenophobia movie to a Independence Day. And you gotta look at it this is an indie film. If we had $100+ million it takes to make an Independence Day movie, of course our film would look just as slick and chic as those films. Dealing with being independent and doing stuff on your own of what you want to get. Independent films doesn't mean we're broke. It just means you work outside the studio system. And I think the movie has a merit between what went into it. The writing is good on all of it. The acting is good. The acting is where it's supposed to be on the stories, Certain storylines are a little more campier than others. So you want the actors to have fun and play with that, because you're telling a story that, like an homage to the 50s driving movies. Was all the acting back then, Oscar winners? No, you had great actors doing what they do, playing it up to the role. I think we did a great job. I'm very proud of Xenophobia. I'm proud to be a producer on the film. I'm proud to be a writer and director on it. And I'm glad that it's getting the reception out there of fans loving it. And that's what we made it for, was basically for the fans and for us as filmmakers.
Fantastic, man. And since the release of Xenophobia, has the overall effect change your directorial ability compared to your other works? Like, has it enhanced it, or has it shaped it up even better than that you ever thought would be?
Since Xenophobia, I directed 2 other projects, 2 other films. I'm conscious more of fans than just being a storyteller and telling the film, telling the story of the way I would want to see it. Now I'm more conscious of what fans would think, how fans would feel, what would they like to see, how fun would it be. Just wrapped a vampire movie literally 2 weeks ago, and that atmospheric and very scary style, suspense thrilled vampire film. I had fans in my head. What would they like to see in a vampire movie? How can I make a vampire movie different than what's been told since the 30s? Before that, you don't think back to the first horror film ever made was a vampire movie in the 1800s from a French director. We think back to Bela Lugosi in the 30s as Dracula. Or earlier than that, with Nosferatu. I wanted to do something different. How do I do something different? I got Joe Castro to create a brand new vampire. After each film I do, I learn more about myself as a director and more about my surroundings, which is my band, which is the public, the audience, people that just, want to go be entertained for 2 hours. I want to give those people a ride. I make movies for me because I like seeing certain stories, but ultimately I'm making movies for you, for the audience, for them to have something else. Look, we're on this planet for a short period of time. When it's said and done and I'm gone to wherever I go next, I want people to hopefully dissect my movies in film school. I want to know what I was thinking when I was setting up a particular long shot, or why did I choose this type of film? Why did I make this type of creature? I'd love to do that. To me, then that's where if you can touch somebody and get the best out of them and inspire someone behind you or alongside of your journey going in this world, I think that is better than winning an Oscar or winning any type of awards. Helping your fellow man or woman is, to me, the best achievement possible.
I totally agree, man. And go ahead and plug in any websites that others can check out Xenophobia, as well as any Joe Castro's works that either yourself that we can check out right now.
Well, Xenophobia, they can check it out right now. It's streaming on every platform, including Amazon Prime. Go pick it up if you want to watch a physical DVD. You can get it still in stores at Walmart's and Best Buys or Amazon. You can Google Joe Castro and Steven Escobar. They got a bunch of projects called Terratoon, the Terratoon series. I don't know their particular websites, but you can catch them both on Facebook. Myself, my website is churchillproductions.com. You can Google me, Thomas J. Churchill. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. My films you can stream right now. They're on Amazon Private streaming platform. Just type in my name. Netflix has a project that I wrote right now. Everything else, Checkpoint and Rack Pack and Emerging Past, is all on the streaming services. Nation's Fire, my action biker thriller, will be released December 3rd. So that's the next one that people can catch my project.
There you have it, everybody. That is director and writer Thomas J. Churchill.
Thank you. I enjoyed my time with you, Mike. Thank you very much.